You'd have to be living under a rock to not know that Sony just announced the brand new PlayStation 5 Pro set for release in early November, and oh boy, the response to the reveal has been not good. Looking at the reveal video on YouTube is showing some major pushback in the likes and dislikes. I don't think I've ever seen this much negative feedback on a PlayStation reveal before, and when gaming is as popular as it is nowadays, seeing this on your reveal is not a good sign. It's kind of easy to narrow down where people are upset the most, given the presentation's confusing reliance on showcasing PS4 remasters, bringing into question if the minimal differences are impressive enough to warrant a jump, the price of the console itself, and of course, the lack of a stand and built-in disk drive. My take on this? Bad. Really bad. Let's just get the smallest thing out of the way first. There is no reason why a stand should not be included when considering the price of this thing. You're telling me for $700 you can't include a $30 stand. The disc tray I kind of understand not including because that's a pricier item, but I still think that's terrible. I'm so sick to death of this massive push for digital-only services under the guise of player choice. It's been proven time and time again that when online services go down, so does my so-called ownership of purchased goods. This might fall on deaf ears too, but remember Concord, the biggest gaming disaster of 2024? Sony granted digital access to influencers to review the game, and the game is being revoked from their account. Yes, I understand the game is offline, but people seem to be missing the bigger picture, which is that these companies can revoke your digital library at the touch of a button without so much as a warning to you. Having a disc tray is the only security against their services going down or reaching end of life. And at $700? Why isn't it there? The stand not being included with a Pro just feels like an Apple move. Like, yeah, absolutely, your PS5 will be fine without a vertical stand, but it's hardly the point. It also feels exceptionally disingenuous of a company to not offer basic features as part of the package, when years prior they were making fun of the competition for their poor decisions. But let's talk about the big three the Pro has to offer: larger GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling. I gotta be honest, as far as my own opinion goes, this stuff means very little to me. I don't think ray tracing is essential, and AI-driven upscaling is just I won't deny that these are upgrades to the system, but a PS5 where I'm from already costs £480. Based on what I saw at that presentation, I don't believe these upgrades are worth an additional £220. You could argue that a 2TB SSD makes the price higher, but I already have an extra SSD in my launch PS5 that does the trick, and that thing cost me less than £100. Looking at what the PS5 can already do, it's an impressive console that honestly offers better performance than the competition in many cases. And I'm saying that as somebody who mostly plays on Xbox. Sorry, Xbox fans, it's just the truth. Playing in performance mode gives you a smooth 60 FPS or higher with solid visuals. If I switch to fidelity options, I just barely see the difference. Yes, there is a difference, but when I ask myself if it's worth playing the game in 30 FPS, the answer is usually no. The AI upscaling doesn't seem like it'll make much of a difference to somebody like me who still uses a 1080p setup. I'm not denying that it will offer an improvement, but I don't believe that improvement is significant enough to justify the money. I can't help but feel like the Pro is underwhelming and overpriced, and watching Sony cut pieces of the console off and sell them back to you in smaller boxes is such an Apple move. It's gross. And I haven't even covered the massive price discrepancy between regions yet. Sony, you're about to make me do math. That's how annoying this is. I'm rounding this up to the nearest 100, so stick with me. In the UK, the Pro will cost £700, while in the USA, it will cost $700. That means Pro purchasers in the UK are paying just over $900 for the same product. Locations using the euro are also charged €800, which translates to $880. I get it, taxes and importing fees are weird, but $200 more? No. To give you guys an idea of how expensive this thing is, let's assume you're a UK resident and you want a Pro with all the bells and whistles, console, stand, and disc tray. That'll cost you a grand total of £824.97. For that much money, you could buy one Nintendo Switch OLED, £297, one 128GB micro SD card, $12.99, one Nintendo Switch Pro controller, $59.99, and 10 brand new Nintendo Switch games priced at $42.95. That would come to a total of £799.48. So you'd still have change to buy yourself not only a carry case, but a pizza on top of it. Is a Switch OLED a Pro console with higher fidelity and frame rates? No. But if you're like me, you'd get get more mileage out of a purchase like this, which would give you far more bang for your buck if you found the right games. Not only that, allegedly, the next Nintendo console is fully backwards compatible with the entire library of Switch games. If that's true, then everything you buy right now will be fully usable when the next Switch launches. And truthfully, I haven't seen that kind of commitment from Sony or Microsoft. Microsoft will only make so many games backwards compatible because of licensing issues or whatever, and Sony had to be bludgeoned into submission before they finally accepted that people tend to like it when they can have their old stuff run on new hardware. In fairness, it took Nintendo a while too, but it looks like we're finally getting there. Oh god, I hope this doesn't age poorly. Again, folks, for 800 quid, you could cop a console, a controller, storage, 10 new games for less than what it would cost to buy a PS5 Pro with no games. And that's not a jab at the PS5 having no games. It does. Stop saying that. It does have games. I mean, this thing doesn't even come with one game, let alone 10. End of the day, people can spend their money on what they want to spend their money on. I'm not here to tell you that you can't buy a PS5 Pro. I think it would be a horrible decision for me to buy a PS5 Pro, but others can do what they like. Having said that, I do believe this whole thing is a massive rip-off of epic proportions. If you don't already have a PS5, the launch console is still fantastic. For 800 bones, you could buy a PS5 and an extra SSD for storage space and still have enough left over to buy some really great games. That's where my recommendation lies, but for this thing, I call it like I see it. Underwhelming and overpriced.
PlayStation.
Thanks for watching. I'm Talk, and I don't know, buy a PC or, I don't know, base PS5 instead. Bye.